all you have to do for 24/7 every single day in your life is that, which of course is toxic. Anything to that extreme is obviously toxic. But when we talk about hustle culture, and we eliminate the idea of how it's portrayed on social media, but just the idea of hustling and hustle culture and working hard, why is that a problem? Why is that even something we need to discuss? Because obviously, to get to where you want to get, you need to be working hard. I mean, the thing about success, everyone says it's not just hard work. It is also there's an opportunity of luck. There is luck in success, right? There was this book I was reading. It's called Outliers, where what you do, the book said it was researching the most successful startups in the US. And what it found was that in order for you to be successful, in order for you to have a high chance of success in the tech industry, the highest chance of success you had was between 1953 and 1956. Okay, you just had those 3 years. That's how Steve Jobs, Bill Gates took use of that opportunity, because personal computers were invented at that time. Okay, in order for Bill Gates and Steve Jobs to take that opportunity in hand, they needed to work hours and hours all day before that, so that when personal computers came in, they were able to take that opportunity. So, for us to actually capture any window of opportunity that we get, we need to be prepared for that. And to be prepared, you need to be working hard every day, consistently. I say every day, every day. At this age, you need to be working hard to get to that. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, that's what you need.
Okay.
Mm. Well, in my opinion, I agree with you and disagree with you
Okay.
because social media did make everyone believe that we have the same lives. Or
Mm.
it's when you see someone you're inspired of, you try to imitate every single thing that they're trying to do. But at the end of the day, you are you and they are them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you start uni, for example, since we're talking about uni in Dubai, what happens is you enter uni and you see everyone just being so productive and doing what they need to do to be where they are, and you feel like you're lost behind. And that's where you need to realize that yes, you need to work hard, but the whole idea of grinding 24/7 doesn't make sense because you operate differently than others, right? You need to find what's good for you. What, for example, me personally, I can't wake up early. You cannot tell me to take a 9:30 class because I'm not built like that, right? Someone else might think the opposite, even though we have the same goals, but we have to have our own strategies for ourselves. So that's what I believe.
But I don't think that's the problem with hustle culture. That's the problem with, if you're not self-aware. Like, if you're
Right.
not self-aware and you don't know about yourself, you don't know what works for you, you don't know what your strategies are, that's lack of self-awareness. That's different from hustle culture, which is just the concept of working hard every day consistently and putting in the effort to get what you want.
But,
Mm.
but does it contradict what you said when you said that you had only these 3 years to
Hmm.
build a successful
Yeah.
startup? So they didn't really work hard, if that makes sense. They
But
had the
that's what I.
opportunity on these 3 years
So
to
do you
make a good
so
startup,
do you
right?
think that when 1953 hit
Yeah.
and personal computers came in,
Yeah.
Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, whoever took advantage of that, when it was invented and it came in, they were instantly able to, make the most of it and
No.
become. No, they needed to have experience. They spent hours before that, years before that. Bill Gates, if you see his story, his house was next to this little institution that used to close at like midnight. So when his parents would sleep, he would sneak out of his house, go there at like 1 a.m., stay there for like 5 hours, trying to learn how to code, trying to do coding, whatever he could.
Okay.
And then when the time came and he could exploit that opportunity, he did.
But that's such a very unique company, right? Let's talk about companies that are recent. Let's talk about
Okay.
Vivo, Oppo. What are they doing right now? They are Android phones. And compared to what they're doing now, it's huge. It's difficult to
Okay.
stand out. I mean, Apple did amazing, but we look at these companies who started 10 years back, a decade, maybe less, and they're still doing well.
And if you don't
So
mind
what?
me chiming in as well, so like, then I would also ask you guys the question. Then, do you think that maybe the luck that these few people had is misleading towards the people that actually are hustling every day, 24/7? Because like there are people who hustle and work like 24/7 all the time. They're working, but they're not getting anywhere. And the thing is that you have these Bill Gates, you have these Steve Jobs who are like the pinnacle of what it means to have hustle culture and have it work out. But then doesn't that necessarily also degrade the fact that they also had a huge amount of luck that is in there? And isn't it misleading towards the younger generation to have them believe that they can get to this place when a lot of it is work? So then what part of it is work and what part of it is working hard?
But the thing is that the only reason they got that luck was because they created that luck. You don't just get luck, you create that luck. For me, for instance, the reason I started Karak with Mehreen, and now we've reached 200 million plus views, which until now it's crazy to me because I started very recently. It's almost been 2 years. And um, I don't think I worked really hard to get here, but I think that I also got lucky because I I wasn't in AUS. I left that university. I went to a different university. I met people who helped me start my podcast. They helped all those videos that you see were with the help of this other company. He's the founder is right there. He started that company, and because of his help, I was able to start my podcast, and that plays a huge role. And I got lucky that I met, the people that I met that helped me with this. So I kind of, luck isn't just like, it just doesn't just come out of thin air. You create that. It's a chain of events that leads to that.
Okay. I don't think it's luck. I think it's timing.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a better word.
Yeah, it's more timing. It's like your timing came and that's good for you. When it comes to hustle though, I feel like it really depends on what's your definition of hustle. Because if you're saying hustle is just hard work, hard 24/7 to achieve results instantly. It really depends on your timing, but during that hard work that you're gonna put, you need strategy. So it wasn't about like not being self-aware. A 13-year-old, not 13, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old who are like planning on going to uni, they don't know what they're going to do. They need strategies. They don't need to be working constantly 24/7. So when you talked about hustle, that's what I grasped from that.
Yeah, I think when you're hustling, obviously you shouldn't be working hard but also be dumb at the same time. Like, I don't want to use that word, but like, you should be smart when you're working hard. Like, you need
Right.
to be working hard on the right things. I knew that when I started Karak with Mehreen, if I spent all of my energy and time editing the videos, managing the raw files, I would not be able to focus my energy on the creativity part, which is actually thinking of what do I want to talk about, these interesting topics, the guests that I want to invite. So I knew that in the beginning I had to delegate that. I could have been working really hard, spending hours editing those episodes, but I knew that I shouldn't be doing it. And in order for me to scale this, I need to delegate that. So then I've spent my hard work on something that makes more sense, which is the creativity part, the topics part. So obviously, hard work doesn't just mean hard work on anything, it means hard work on the right things. How do you know
Yeah.
what's right? That takes time. Once you start, you will realize what you need to be spending more energy on.
Yeah, I think it's very important to delegate tasks to know what exactly you need to be working on and what's خلاص you can keep it away and someone else can take over. As well as, when you're working constantly to achieve your goals, I feel like you also need to know when to say no and to who to say no
Oh,
to.
yeah.
It's very important. I feel like you can obviously, what is it called?
Relate to it.
Relate to that as
Yeah.
well. There were times where you had to say no to get better opportunities. And so, yeah.
I mean, what's stuck in my mind right now, honestly, is when she said you have to work every day, and she emphasized it. I don't think so. Why do you think we should work every day for a goal?
I think when you are young, and I've said this so many times on the podcast as well, and people may not agree, that's fine. But in order to achieve extraordinary results, something really extraordinary, and what's extraordinary can be different for different people. I understand that. For those things, maybe you don't need to work every single day. I understand. But when I'm talking about, you know, achieving big missions like building the biggest media company of the world, which is what I want to do, these types of things, I know that I need to be working on the weekends as well. I know that I need to be putting in effort every day because some random day I might get an opportunity and I would have missed out on it if I didn't. And I know that could create this toxic idea that, like, you are overworking yourself and whatever. I understand that. But this again comes back to the self awareness. I know when I do need a break. Like, I know 2 days ago, I try to wake up really early in the morning to work. But 2 days ago, I was like, I've been doing this for like so many months. I need one day to sleep in, and I slept in, and I woke up at like 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. So you have to be self-aware. You need to know when to draw those boundaries. That's all about self-awareness. But you cannot. There is no substitute for the level of effort you need to be consistently putting. If you don't want to work on the weekends, that's also fine. But what I just mean is like consistently, at least 5 days a week, putting in the effort. And eventually you can create a life where you probably need to work like 3 days, 2 days, and the rest of the days you don't.
That's what I think. Is that these creative ideas that come up suddenly don't come up when you are studying, when you're like working every day on that office. I think it comes when like you work on something and then you take a walk in the park, you're with your family, you're with your friends, and suddenly you get that idea that, hey, what if I match this with that, this point with that? You add this to your platform. These ideas don't come when you're working. It comes more when you sleep on it, if that makes sense.
I mean, I'm not saying don't sleep. You have to sleep. You have to eat food. You have to, take care of your health. I think the most successful entrepreneurs, they always say that they wish they had taken care of their health earlier on in their careers. And I know that's true. We shouldn't exploit our health. We shouldn't take that for granted. Take care of your health. Eat right food. Wake up early, because actually if you have a good sleep routine, that is not only good for work, but it's good for your health. So obviously do all that bare minimum. These are minimum stuff. This is literally the bare minimum that you should be doing for yourself as a human being. I'm not saying to replace that. You need to be doing that as a human being, but the rest of your day, you need to allocate it in a way where you are getting deep work, you are getting productive work done for whatever it is that you want to do.
I feel
Okay,
like
so then,
you.
I'm so sorry to cut, but the 10 minutes has passed, so then it's also open to the audience. And just so you guys have something else to think about as well, another question would be like, with so many influencers talking about side hustling and also hustle culture, do you think that them flexing their success is inspiring, or is it just adding more pressure for what you think that is expected out of you from society? So if you guys want to put in any points, just put your sticker up at any point, but you guys can also answer the question. No?
Hello.
I think he has a question.
Okay. Hi. Sorry, my mind is completely like messed up because I have so many like ideas. Um, I feel like our whole conception of hustle culture, I like the way that you think about it, but at the same time, it also comes down to realism to an extent. So like, let's say when it comes to certain societies that we're in, like Dubai, it's very driven on that like hustle culture. But like there is like a sort of dream to an extent that we all kind of want to reach towards. But in a lot of cases, even if after putting all of that hard work, it isn't realistic to all of us. Like you say, create your own luck, right? Which I agree with. You can put yourself in situations to sort of create your own luck, but like not everyone's gonna still have that same chance or still have that luck. There's still so many things in play for that. You can be the most hardworking person, be more hardworking than all these billionaires, these entrepreneurs and everything, but still like it isn't necessarily about that hard work. It's more about that smart work, if that makes sense.
It's more about?
Smart work.
Okay.
It's like they're putting themselves in a position to where they can benefit the most more than a working class man who is working 10 times harder than them. So I feel like we as a society, especially in Dubai, have put ourselves in a position where, okay, we have to put 100% into everything. But it's also like, is that really your goal? Like your goal, you're very oriented on what you're doing, which is respectable. But it's like all of us have sort of, in this society, felt like, okay, this is the norm. So we have to go with this.
But then, couldn't you also make the argument that smart working is also causing people to be lazy in a sense? Because all those like finance gurus, like, oh, work smarter, not harder. Like, just listen to my one idea, then you're going to be paying for this and you can make like $1 million. Like, doesn't that kind of raise a generation who is a lot lazier in a sense, because they believe that, oh, if they follow this smart work ideal, they don't have to do anything with their lives and they can just do whatever. Like, what would be your argument against that in that
Well,
case?
then it's two sides of the coin. You're playing two sides of the coin in the sense that you have a generation that's following, or like a split in the generation to one where they're overworking themselves and might even lead towards burnout, or some that aren't doing anything and are just praying for it. There has to be some middle ground, but it's just that in the society that we live in, I keep using Dubai as an example, but it's the best example. We we value hard work way too much sometimes. Like I'm Omani. I'm a small hometown boy. I came here and I did film and I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be phenomenal. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be creative. But like the business side ruined me very fast. Like I thought I had to be on this grind. Can I swear on here, by the way? Is that fine? No?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it okay on your guys'
Okay.
platform?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, then sure.
It's like it was in a shitty position basically to keep it that way. But it's like I felt like it was because of the society around me that like my mental immediately shifted into okay, I have to be in this entrepreneur type of standpoint. I have to be in this hardworking standpoint. If I'm not doing more than the other person, I'm gonna fall behind. So that's when it becomes toxic. It isn't the idea of like being a hard worker is toxic. It's the mentality of we're playing in this capitalist society where we have to keep like pushing, and if we're not pushing, you're gonna fall behind, and then it's just not gonna work, and you're just gonna be left in the dust, and then your values and your like what you actually value are gonna be completely forgotten eventually as you go on that journey. But, yeah.
Sorry, just to give the microphone to someone else. Wasn't a point around.
Just before I interrupt, I know there's a phone that it's annoying in the back. That's my phone. I mean, yeah, I know.
Cameron, do you mind
You
giving the
can
phone?
just slide down, turn on Do Not Disturb. I'll let her know. Don't worry.
Someone's
You're
getting
way
in
there, Craig. You
trouble.
have to give the-
Anyone next?
Yeah.
Who's next?
So can we respond or do we?
Yeah,
first-
let her like respond
Okay.
to her and then
Got it.
she'll go ahead.
Who needed it?
Oh, us?
You wanted,
Oh,
you,
okay.
wanted, you wanted to respond to what he was
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that that's why I was bringing the point about self-awareness, because at the end of the day, when the point you brought up about how you define hustling is a very good point, because you can define it the way it fits you and your life and your lifestyle. Because for me, when I think of hustle culture, I know that what I want is to build something really big and really, to reach the whole world, to build like a global empire. That's like the dream that I have. And in order for me to achieve that, I know that I need to be putting in a certain amount of effort. Whereas if you have a different value, if you value something else, if your values are something else, if your dream and vision is something else, then you 100% should not be following that path. When I say hustling, hustling is you can mold it into what you wish for it to be, because I understand that for certain people that's not the right path for them. So who am I to force that upon you? I'm no one. Like you are the decision maker of what you choose to be. So definitely I agree with you on the idea that it's not the path for everyone, but I also just don't like how we think the hustling overall is just toxic. That's what I just don't agree with, because for some people that's actually a better path.
But he mentioned a point where your hard work is not the same as someone else's hard work. Like you mentioned Steve Jobs and other prominent people. These people have a lot that we don't, right? Their hard work is not the same. Let me finish.
Okay. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
So what I'm trying to say is he's saying that we are glorifying burnout, right? When we say that we're working every day. So I would say, hey, we are human beings, and what makes us diverse is we all have our different ways, right? So I think find your way. You don't have to work every day. Find the time that fits you and be consistent with it. That's all you gotta be. Don't work every day. Just be consistent.
Wait, before you go ahead, say your opinion about it.
I was gonna say that when you're talking about hustle culture, when you're talking about hard work, when you start using billionaires as inspiration, saying, oh, look at Bill Gates, look at Steve Jobs, the only reason they are that rich is because of exploitation. It's not hard work. They got their ideas through hard work, but the rest is exploitation on a disgusting humanitarian level. That's the reason they have the money. That's the reason they still have the money. When you add that point, it shows, it makes it more obvious that hustle culture is a rat race. Because tomorrow I'm not getting that much money. None of us are. And that's the big joke of it. The joke is that it is just a rat race. And to what point, if you look at America and the American dream, you can see how it's influenced people to the point where it's almost delusion the amount you work and you gain nothing for it. So I don't know, using billionaires as an example for success isn't fair for the average person.
I think that the whole idea of us constantly trying to find flaws in every single, you know, successful case study is us just making excuses for what we want, but we don't know how to achieve. If I am constantly just thinking of the only reason these people got successful is because of this, and that's why I cannot reach that point, that's why I cannot be successful, and that's why I cannot reach that amount of money or whatever. And I don't, and my vision is not to reach to not to reach exactly what they've done or how they've done it, the amount of money that they've achieved. No, but if we're constantly only looking at the flaws, and I'm not saying don't look at them, of course, when you look at sweatshops, when you look at what's happening all around the world, it is detrimental and it's crazy to see that 100%. But if you have a vision and you have a goal to become someone really successful, and successful, when I'm talking about success, I'm talking about building a big company, I'm talking about building a multi-million-dollar empire, whatever, some kind of a big company. If we are constantly only looking at the excuses that we can make, that oh, he only got this opportunity because he was in the US in this year at that time, I'm not in the US, I'm not surrounded by these type of people, so obviously I'm not going to get there. If we are constantly feeding ourselves that mindset, we are not going to get there. That's truly what I believe in. However, if you don't, when you're talking about how, like for example, what he said about how um, even if I'm working really hard, sometimes I feel like I'm compromising on my values. Now, that's a whole nother discussion. That means that the success that I'm talking about is completely different from the success that you want to achieve, that you envision yourself.
I just think you aren't like looking at the actual issues at hand where it is different for them for specific reasons. They are upper class. They were middle class white guys in before the stock market crashed. And if we pretend that racism, that sexism aren't playing parts in their success, we're lying to ourselves. So when you talk about hustle culture, when you talk about your passions, it's better not to include stories of billionaires who had a way easier time than any of us would. As a South Asian woman, you should see that, yeah, it is harder for you, and so that's why your success matters in a different way. Comparing yourself to these in any sense, comparing yourself to these guys who did get successful easier than the average person,
That's why I said.
they need to.
That's why I said.
Sorry, wait, there's two other people who want to give their opinion. Let them speak
Sure,
first,
sure.
and then you
Let's
guys
hear them
answer.
out.
Hannah
And
first.
Saha goes next. Yeah.
Sorry.
Just wanted to say the same thing. I think a really important point that we're not considering is everyone doesn't have the same playing field. Everyone doesn't come from the same background. So when we talk about issues like these at hand, we need to be more objective and look at it through a more like bird's eye view, because you can say, oh, I'm working, I'm hustling, right? But there are people who are hustling. For example, let's say I'm coming to this event. It's a privilege for me to be able to attend events such as these. There are people who were not able to get education, who cannot like you said, you met someone and that helped you open up this path, right? But there are people in positions where they cannot meet such people, or like, I can phrase this better, but like they do not have the access to the opportunities that we have, and they're so focused on survival because one once you don't have a roof over your head, you don't have food, like you're just gonna try and grasp onto anything. You can't work smart in that point. You're not thinking. You have to provide for yourself, for your family, right? So you have to like one could argue like they're working harder than any of us. Like if you look at if you look at people who are working blue collar jobs, in like we just have to consider that also. I believe everyone's backgrounds.
Sorry, and then give it one the person, then
One
we'll
more
get to
person.
her. And then
Yes.
Hi guys. So, I think that you're getting the side hustle dream different. You know, I come from Mexico, so in Mexico there is a lot of people that are poor people that have become successful. There is like medium wage people that have become successful, right? So I think that putting yourself like, oh, I'm this nationality, I'm not able to be rich. Oh, I'm this average, I'm not able to do it. It's because you're competing with people that you see. You see what I'm saying? Like you have to not compare, but take your people who looks like you to inspire yourself. Because if you start, I don't know, looking Bill Gates, looking any other big company guy, right? You'll be like, why am I going to do the same? You're not gonna do the same. Maybe you want to do something different. Maybe you want to do makeup. Maybe you want to do something for your culture. So you don't have to be looking at those people over there. You have to focus on your people on your side. You know what I'm saying? So if you focus on that and that's your field and that's what you need to do, then you will start growing up because you're doing what you want, not what people is telling you to do. Because then you're taking like the big expectation because everyone else is doing it, but you're not focusing on what you want to do with your expectation. Yeah?
Sorry.
Finally, my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give you an example. Okay. My grandfather was an architect. Okay. And he had a big dream to get into business and build something bigger. But we're speaking him, I mean, you're Pakistani, so you know, my grandfather lived in Multan, right? There were no resources back then to get him where his dream was, okay? Some people don't come from that space of privilege. My mom, she wanted to be a businesswoman, but she couldn't because back then it was like, if she's a doctor, if she's a lawyer, that's where the money was. So my mom was like, you know what? It was my father's dream for me to become a doctor, so I'll become a doctor. Again, that didn't come from privilege. She had to work hard, she had to hustle. She wasn't even comparing herself to anyone. She just had to get through, right? Fast forward, I'm here sitting right now studying business. This is something that my mom wanted for my grandfather. You see, it took 3 generations for, I think, the entire family to achieve something. And whatever I achieve now is not just for my mom, but it's also for my grandfather, right? But I'm sitting here with privilege. I'm sitting here and I can say that, like, you talked about the idea of being self aware. Not everyone gets that opportunity when they're struggling to make ends meet. I can sit here and be like, okay, but I'm self aware because I have time to be self aware. They didn't have time, right? So I think we need to stop looking at the whole idea of hustle culture from a high point of view and start from the beginning, right? So in general, when that comes, because when I was doing my research for this, because I was, I was going to talk about the strategies we can have to become better, to not let this hustle culture dominate us. That's where I was like, say no to what needs to be said no to, delegate tasks, know who you are. Yes.
Saying no as well is a part of it.
Yes, but we can't just look at it from a point of view of sitting down in a luxury house and be like, you should work hard, because people are working hard. They just don't have the right resources.
Sorry, wanted to go.
Yeah, but I just want to put a point, maybe debate on it, that hey, even if we all hustled right now, some of us won't succeed.
Oof.
All right? Some of us will fail, even if we try a million times. It's not us. It's, again, luck. It's sometimes
timing.
the hard work that you do, the idea that you build. It's not in the time. It's
You-
not for the right people. No, and so on.
So, I just want to say, can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it heard? Okay. I just want to say that, do you think every single successful person in the world is a white man from the US? Obviously not.
No.
If you look at the billion-dollar startups in the US, this is a very recent study done. You can even fact check it. The billion-dollar, they're called unicorn startups in the US. 50% of the founders are immigrants. 50% of the founders half of them were not born in the US. Their parents struggled to bring them to the US, and then those children, the parents, whoever they were, they put in the effort. It has a lot to do with their work ethic. Number one amongst that audience who came from outside of the US, number one is India. So the point I'm trying to say here is that, first of all, not every successful person is a white man. There are many case studies, and I agree with you. I'm not trying to compare myself to a white old man like Bill Gates. I'm not. Obviously not. The reason I was bringing that point was because I was talking about the years 1953 to 1956, that 3 years, that window of opportunity that they had, that can happen anytime to us. And we need to prepare ourselves for that opportunity. Now AI is coming. Not coming, it's already here. This is a window of opportunity that some people can take advantage of. Not everyone, obviously, whoever is actually invested in this space. The point I was making is that there are these little pockets of opportunities that we can, as a human being, every single person, every single one of you would have gotten, may have already gotten, or will experience in their lifetime, that window of opportunity, that pocket. And in order to capture that, you need to be putting consistent effort. Now, I just gave you the stat of how 50% of billion-dollar startups are not by US owners, US based people. But even here, when you look at the UAE, there are so many big companies that have been founded by expats, that have been founded by immigrants who've come here. If you look at Danube, the founder of Danube, Rizwan, do you think he was sitting in his luxury house when he built
But there's
Danube?
so many more that failed, right?
And
There's
obviously you will
more
fail.
No, I
Let's
think.
get the
But do you think you will not fail?
Bro,
That's what I'm saying. So let's not just put the expectation that you will succeed, right? Just put the, hey, it's an opportunity that I will work hard for.
no, one
Right.
thing that I can.
But if you don't
wait.
have that vision that, I have to make this work,
Have
how
the
will you
vision.
succeed?
Wait. Let's
just
say it from the
no,
audience.
just to
yeah.
add on as well, the issue sometimes is associating productivity with accomplishments. You start thinking like, oh, I'm gonna keep myself busy, only then will I be able to succeed. I think that's a toxic mentality. You
Yeah.
have to keep yourself free so that you can observe the opportunities around you.
100%.
When you're busy 24/7, because now you're stuck with the mindset that, oh, I have to work over hours, I have to work outside of my office hours as well so that I can make it in life. You cannot associate hustling with self-worth. That's the issue sometimes. You have to be self-aware and be satisfied with yourself. Because otherwise you're going to
Good
start.
point. I just want to
Yeah, Adam.
paraphrase. Basically, she's saying, hey, like if you accomplish these objectives, you don't have to put the expectation that you'll succeed in it. It's just like I'm saying, like don't be like you have to be happy for achieving the objective, not reaching the end goal.
Sorry
Right?
to Sam.
As in enjoying the journey.
Yes, enjoy the journey, not the end goal, even if you don't reach it. We cannot hear.
What I was just gonna say is, if you have the mindset that people are not gonna succeed, you are not gonna succeed. If you already start with that mindset, oh, I'm gonna fail, oh, 50% of people in this room are not gonna succeed, you are gonna succeed. You are not gonna succeed, sorry. Because you are already starting with the mindset that, okay, might not work. So on the moments that you really need to push hard, I'm like, it's not gonna work either way, why would I put the effort? Everyone has a definition of success. Everyone have their definition of whatever. Oh, I want to have this, I want to be that, whatever. But for someone, as Marim was saying, that you want to live an extraordinary life, you need to look at Bill Gates. You need to look at these guys and see what they did on their path 50 years ago, not now. Because right now they are in a position for a lot of leverage, and that's not exploitation, that's leverage. Yes, there's many people that exploit each other, and that's not what I'm saying. But people that are in these positions, they are not on that position because of anything
So you're
that
saying
you
let's
come
compare ourselves to these billionaires? or-
Yes, why not?
Let's compare.
Unfortunately,
For
we
if you want to be
have stop here
successful,
because-
No, we don't.
you need to be
I need to say
delusional.
something.
If you want to be successful like this, you need to be delusional. You think that Elon Musk
But
is
that's
a piece
put an
of shit.
expectation that what they've done that you should
Yeah.
do as well.
I
Is that
have this to
expectation?
myself.
No, that's not
It is.
the
There's
po-
not the expectation.
No, that's
the thing is
depends
where we are
on-
aiming to.
Yeah,
If you're gonna
it depends
compare
on your
yourself,
vision.
if you're gonna compare yourself to someone from the Islam, oh, look at this guy. You're going to be very happy just be sitting here, and that's fine. And that's good. You're grateful
Yeah.
for that. If you're going to compare yourself to someone under, you're not going to be able to achieve something higher because your standard is lower. And that's just the mentality
No,
that
I don't want to say that your standard is lower. It's just that you have a different vision. You have a different goal. If your goal is to build whatever empire you want to build, you have to look at case studies. You have to look at people that you can get inspired by. But I do agree with what you said that, these people, they have, proven record of exploitation. When you look at sweatshops and all of this, it's absolutely disgusting. So I don't think that's just leverage. There is exploitation in that scenario. But the point of you saying that you shouldn't look at billionaires or you shouldn't look at entrepreneurs, if you have a vision of achieving something like a big company, I need to be looking at people who've already been successful in that path. And for me, it doesn't have to be a white man. It can be like the people that I look up to is the founder of Love in Dubai, Augustus Media. He's built a media empire here in the UAE. I've studied him a lot. He's a fantastic case study for me. So obviously you need to be looking at case studies to get an understanding of, it's a hack. I don't like the word hack, but it is some kind of a hack to understand, okay, this is what they did in the beginning. This is what he invested in the beginning. So maybe I should do this, maybe not, whatever. But it's just learning from what they've done. If you think that you can sit here and do everything on your own without studying what people have done, without getting mentorship or consulting from what other people have done, then it's probably going to take you centuries
Absolutely.
to achieve
Just
that.
don't
It's hard
compare
because
yourself
you
with
didn't-
them. That's what I'm trying to say.
But
Don't compare yourself
it's
with
not
them.
It's a hard thing because
Yeah,
she's
go
like
ahead.
brimming with
Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not disagree with Mehreen on this one, okay?
What is the...
You can't come and say that not everyone's going to be successful. Now let me tell you something. The whole idea of hustle is to do your best, okay? And opportunities are gonna come to you. And if that means looking
You're
up,
saying that
listen,
not everyone will succeed. You just said that.
no,
Do your
listen,
best.
can you listen? And if that means to go and look at billionaires, why not? Maybe their story inspires you, right?
Do you have any role models in your life? You guys don't have any role models? Any people
My
that
mom.
you look up to? Your mom, what is it about your mom that you aspire to be? Is there something that you want to be like her? Is that why she's your role model?
I feel like the way she thrived is something that I need, That's just that one thing that my mom has that I don't. I would sometimes give up, My mom
Yeah.
doesn't have that. So just like that, maybe there's a billionaire out there who has a specific, I don't know, personality trait that you resonate with, and you're like, maybe if I am like him, then I can achieve what he has. Wait. Back to what I was saying though, okay? When it comes to hustle, at the end of the day, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to make yourself a better person, okay? Whether it comes to learning more or getting to know yourself more, self-awareness, whatever, right? Go out, meet people, network, and all of that,
Yeah.
right? When the time is right, you're gonna end up getting an opportunity. It's not an opportunity that you would like personally. You might think that's not successful of you, but the fact that you took on to that opportunity, maybe that's the right path for you, okay? So that's what I mean.
And
unfortunately,
unfortunately, we have to go to the next one. But this one bleeds onto this. This one bleeds onto this. So this is about like the Dubai dream.
Okay.
So does Dubai offer the best environment for young people to thrive? And does its lifestyle and economy make it the ideal place for your development?
100%.
Let's not focus on Dubai because we're barely in Dubai.
Then let's go to the UAE because
The-
the entire
okay,
dream
sure.
falls
Yeah.
throughout the entire UAE. Yeah, go ahead.
For example, me, I'm interested in the luxury sector, okay? And have you seen the luxury sector here? Come on. And it's not just luxury, like there's many brands headquarters here now, and then there's the aerospace market that's been blooming here. I feel like Dubai, it's just UAE, it's just expanding more and more. And whenever they say, okay, places where you can get paid really well, they would say, okay, London, US, and then they would add Dubai as well. It's becoming a global place. It already is a global place. So yeah, 100%.
It's
Yeah.
great.
I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, for me as well, I completely agree. UAE is given so many opportunities. You know what was the beginning of people talk about the American dream? The beginning of that's where we are in Dubai. Like that's now Dubai is building its own Dubai dream. So we are at this is the window of opportunity in a way that to be in Dubai in 2025, sitting here with all of you, this is first of all a privilege, and second of all, a great opportunity that I know that I want to make the most out of being here in this country and in this city. So yeah, I mean it's
amazing.
great.
I mean, as specifically my question as at least is as a student, because it's also
Okay.
about the university experience. Like as a student, do you feel like you're sacrificing your university experience for the Dubai dream? And like,
Yes.
do you feel like it's worth it though? Like, do you not feel like you're ever missing the kind of life that you could have had in any other country? Not to say that
That's a good
in any
question.
other place you would not have the same kind of opportunities, but because everyone's so, it goes back to the hustle culture. Everyone's so like running towards having this Dubai dream. Do you not feel like you're sacrificing being able to be young? And do you not feel like when you're older, you will not have the ability to have a life afterwards? Like, or say that you've had a life afterwards? Yes, please go ahead.
I think it's the mindset, right? If you don't believe in yourself, no one will believe in you. You know, one of my mentors used to tell me, when you wake up in the morning, look at the mirror and say, "Hello, tiger, how are you?" Right? And to add to what Marine said, Dubai is today, Dubai, not UAE, Dubai primarily is today what the United States was in the 1980s. It is the land of opportunities, right? If you can make it big somewhere, it is here. It's the center stage of the world today to make it big. And we are all fortunate to be here and we can do lots here. But first, we need to believe in ourselves and have the right mindset. It's not about comparing to Bill Gates or XYZ, but it's about you first, then about everything else. This is kind of what I wanted to add to this conversation.
And I just want to say that because you keep on bringing the word compare, I don't think any of us, especially when I brought in Bill Gates, I never brought in the word compare. I'm not comparing myself to anyone. When I look at Augustus Media, the founder's name is Richard. When I look at the Danube founder, I am not comparing myself to them. I'm reading their case studies as a model for me to see what can I learn, what can I learn from them. You can always learn from people. Who else are you going to learn from? Like it's from going to be, you don't, books are great, school is great, but the most that I've ever learned in my life has been from people.
But then does not ever feel like, for example, the Dubai dream kind of feels like the American dream in the sense that it kind of puts you in this feedback loop where you have to fight for something that you know you might not be able to get. Like you can say that, oh, yes, this is the American dream back then, but the thing is that like everyone likes to kind of romanticize the American dream then, but then you're also forgetting that they also went through the Great Depression and a lot of people lost a lot of their families, their lives afterwards. And the same thing could be said about Dubai. Like at the same time, you could say like, oh, everyone has all this experience, but then you're also kind of, you're almost neglecting the people who are suffering because of that. And also, especially as a student, all of us are like, oh yes, how many like student entrepreneurs do you know? Like who is like, they're fighting to be able to get to this. But at the same time, it's like also because of your economic background. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but recently I had a friend of a friend who was an Emirati, right? He just got a graduate and he literally got like a 6-figure job, like right then and there. You know what I mean? The Dubai dream feels almost catered towards a specific group of people. And especially when you're a student, it kind of feels like you're sacrificing being one of them just because you want to get there because you're here. You know what I mean?
I do think that it is harder for some people than others. Of course, that's a
Yeah.
fact. Like when you were talking about the leveling the playing ground and how we all have different cards given to us. 100%. Am and I talk about this in my podcast a lot. I'm extremely privileged to be able to run this podcast, to be able to meet the people that I'm meeting. I always say this in my podcast that who am I? I'm a Pakistani woman. Why am I better than all the other amazing Pakistani girls back in Pakistan? They probably speak better than me. They probably are more knowledgeable than me. They can probably conduct a better business than I am. But I'm completely aware of this privilege given to me, and that is why I'm trying to make the most of it. Um, so I think that it is different for different people. Of course, some people will have to work harder than others. That's a fact. You can't deny that. But if you're gonna constantly, sweat and over the fact that I have to be putting in so much more effort than this white guy, then I'm gonna be putting in all my energy over, you know, uh, getting annoyed of this fact than actually working towards it. That's where I find the issue, where we're spending our energy on the wrong stuff, on the negative stuff, than actually putting in the effort.
Someone has a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just scream.
Hi, yeah. So you mentioned the fact that you acknowledge your privilege, right? And that's a great step to begin with. And there's nothing wrong with using the privilege that you have. That is how you grow, right? But also on the flip side, let's talk about the word hustle culture itself, right? It has the word culture in it. So culture means like it's a collective. And what I believe is that when you compare yourself to other people, it causes, like, you know how you said you shouldn't sweat about the fact that you're not white or you're not privileged, but on the flip side, you do have to acknowledge those facts. There is research that there are some people in this world who are more privileged than others. So if we do try to think that, oh, this person did it, I'm putting in the same effort, I'm not reaching the same level, it's also because of these factors that could come into play. Like, it is easier for white people or a man to, even the wage gap, like, it's still a thing. There is research into it. This is real. We're seeing this.
No one's denying that. That's what I'm saying. That's a fact. Acknowledging it does not mean thinking about it 24/7 every single day for the rest of your life. That's what I'm saying. It's wrong.
But it could cause unhappiness. That's what we're saying. Like, when you are in this rat race and you're like trying to achieve something that is statistically proven to be harder for you, and
so you
when the
think
whole
you
world
shouldn't try it? So is your point that you shouldn't try it?
No, people are still working. Don't you think people are working? Like, there are certain people who are working
Everyone
more.
wants to succeed, obviously, yes.
No, I'm not talking about people. I'm saying your argument, which is that it's statistically harder for certain races to succeed. Okay, I agree with that. It is true. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Does that mean that that person should not even try?
Oh no, they're trying. They should try in their own degree. But when we try to glorify this sort of, yeah, you're gonna work, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that, that's when it becomes toxic. And there is a systematic indifference. I could phrase that better, but yeah.
So I even started this conversation by saying that anything to the extreme can become toxic. Anything that you take to the extreme, that's what social media has done.
So working
It's
every day,
taken-
is that extreme?
for some people it's not.
Okay.
But anyway, like, that could be the extreme for lots of people. So I agree, don't do that. Like, that's what I'm saying. You need to be self-aware of what works for you, but you shouldn't also have this mindset where you're constantly telling yourself that just because I'm Pakistani and I come from this background, that I'm not gonna do it, so I shouldn't try. You have to try. Like, you will regret it later. That's what I truly believe, that I will regret it if I didn't try it now. Especially now, because I'm really young and I feel like I have this energy within me that maybe I won't have later on.
But that's an expectation there, that you're gonna do it while young.
What do you mean expectation?
You might not do it while young. I mean,
So do you think
so many people could do it in their
people should
30s,
not have
40s.
expectations
Go
for
ahead and try,
themselves?
but you might not do it while young. You might do it while
that's
old.
okay. I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna.
So let's not say, hey, while you're young, you have to succeed.
No,
That's what I'm
no,
trying to say.
that's
not
not
what
what
she's
I'm saying.
saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have to do it while you're young, not that
Do
you
what?
have to succeed while you're young. Obviously, success takes time. No one ever said, if you hear any creator, any influencer, any social media video that tells you that you can be successful in like a month, or this is a hack to earn $1 million in 1 month, that is completely a facade. That's false. That is not how success should come to you at all. What I'm saying is that I'm young now. I have this energy now. I want to make the most of it, and I know I might succeed in 10 years, in 15 years, whatever that may be, but I'm gonna make the most of the time that I have now. That's the
why is it the expectation to always continuously work hard? Like, obviously we all want to go through success, but the thing is that, like, why must it be that we have to work ourselves to exhaustion for this? You know
if you don't, it depends on your goals, right? If you like, what is your goal? Can I ask? Like, what do you want to be?
I feel like my goal is a little bit different than, the entire experience. Because for me, my goal is just to learn as much as possible. Like, I want to collect degrees. I want to be able to, like, learn more about the world, people's experiences. For me, my idea of success is being able to, I feel like that's also the biggest part of whether or not hustle culture is worth it or not. It's like, what is your definition of success? For me, my definition of success is being able to understand more about the world around me and the people who are there. And for me, collecting degrees that helps me explore life. Like there's so much to life for me to just be able to be like, oh yeah, let me be successful and get like $1 million and like have this pretty house. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So do you
What's
think
what's your definition? Just
of 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 success? I've mentioned it a couple of times, like it's to build the biggest media
no, no,
empire.
no. What's your definition of success? So if someone
That's
is
success for
successful,
me. That's what is success.
so they have
Success is
to.
subjective. I cannot tell you what success is for you. I cannot tell her what success
What's
is
your
for her.
definition?
That's what I said. That's what success is for me. I
To
will
build.
only say what success is for me in terms of my career. Of course, I want to have a beautiful family as well. I want to
Alright.
get married. I have all of these aspects and factors. So you need to define that for yourself. I'm not going to say a generic definition of success because that may not apply to everyone else. That's my definition of success.
We'll take a 5-minute break here before we go on to the last topic. Thank you guys.
Alright.
So
Hello.
Thank you very much, everyone. Let's take our seats again. We're going to be about to start for the last 15 minutes before Iftar. Thank you very much for being here, guys.
Our fun little intermission. I see you guys that had no break. No break, yeah. Go ahead. I feel like you guys had no break. Yeah, like, there were still things to say.
I don't know.
Do any of you guys want to switch?
I don't know what she said. No. She doesn't want to. I really want to. Sahar wants to switch, so I don't know. It's only 10 more
Okay.
minutes. Okay.
So for the last segment of this podcast, we're going to be talking about the social experience. So the question is, does Dubai's environment make it easier or harder for young adults to form meaningful and lasting relationships? And rather to kind of expand on that idea, it's like, you know how we're talking about the hustle culture, does it always feel like you're networking, or do you ever get the chance to actually ever make long-lasting relationships with the people you meet here? But anyway, you guys.
At least for me personally, I think this is something that I'm still kind of figuring out. So I don't say I would have like the right answer to it, because it is true that when you're living in a city that is so fast paced, where everyone is, trying to do something, trying to build something, that when you meet all these different kinds of people, it's harder to build an actual genuine friendship and connection, because it feels like everyone that you meet, they're trying to not use you. I don't want to say the word use, but they have a goal in mind, that they're like, okay, we want your help with this. And I know that I also do that when I go to events. I know that I want to meet these people so that I can maybe either invite them on my podcast, either have them as a sponsor or whatever. I know I have that goal, and then I go and talk to them. So that happens quite a lot in a city like Dubai. Very fast paced, everyone has their own goals. So it can be a struggle to build long lasting friendships. But honestly, at the end of the day, what I've realized is that you just need a few. Like, you don't need 10 friends that that which is a circle that you go back to every single day. I think for me, I probably just have like 2 to 3 people that I genuinely connect back to, actually talk to, and actually enjoy meeting in the weekends or whatever. So what I realize is that's really all you need. You just need a couple of quality people over quantity. Takes time, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I have a solution to it. It's just something that takes time, and it's just a matter of how much effort you put into that connection as well.
I believe it takes time, especially we're talking about true long-lasting friendships. They don't happen in
A day.
months, days,
Yeah.
not even years, by the way. I personally, I'm the type of person who takes a very long time to genuinely form friendships where you open up, right? And that, like, for example, I'm in uni right now and we have 4 years for our bachelor's. I personally don't believe that you can even form that in those 4 years. That's what I believe in, right? So when it comes to networking, especially when you go to events, if you're going into that thinking, I'm gonna make friends today, I feel like you're setting yourself up for some type of failure. Okay, you can go and you can socialize. You can get to know the person. You can get to know the reason why you're there for the event. You will have a lot of similarities because you're there, right? But to think that, okay, I'm gonna build this long-term friendship with that one person, that comes over time. So let's say you met someone through an event and then you keep meeting them through different places, and eventually you realize, okay, we have so many similarities. I'm starting to like actually see this person as a friend. But that again takes time. You can't really put that with the hustle culture.
And do you feel like there's a difference in how that entire experience is when you're international than when you're here? Because Dubai is obviously a lot more fast paced.
When you're international?
When you come from the outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're like an expat.
Yeah, like when you're in an expat, like no, or even if when you're leaving Dubai, like or even when you're leaving the UAE, like do you feel like when you're in a different country, because of the comparison of how fast paced it is here, you're always required to kind of think in because you already said it takes such a long time, but the thing is that like is that not experience a little bit different when you're elsewhere? Like,
That's true, because I have been in the UAE since I was in grade 4. So I am so accustomed to every single thing that happens here. So I'm comfortable in a sense. But if someone comes from the outside, it might be challenging for them. Really depends. Some people are very outgoing. They can make friends in less than like a month. Some people take time to open up. It really depends on the person at the end of the day. But yeah, being here, it's a lot more easier because you already know the tradition, the culture, the people. So yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Just to clarify, your question is about how different is the experience of making friends here versus if I went abroad?
Yeah, also that experience as well. But then also like what I'm also trying to get into as well is, for example, the university culture here. You know, it's completely different
Yeah.
than when you would see it anywhere else. And do you ever feel like you're kind of missing something in that sense? Because the university culture here, even just in university, we're already expected to start hustling. Like we're already starting to expect you can't you're being conditioned for the real world, but at the same time you're also kind of being removed from the university lifestyle that, you know, other people are able to enjoy. And do you ever feel like you're missing something in that sense, or do you feel like you just want to get to the success and not have to actually go through all that?
Very interesting question. I think.
I think if you're comparing with other universities, then yes. I mean, but I mean, like, just look at the culture here in UAE, and I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, in my university, a lot of clubs, a lot of networking, and I think after uni, I will connect with a lot of people that I met through clubs, TUGNZ, the team here, and other clubs, entrepreneurship club. I'm pretty sure, like, I might connect with them after when, let's say, start a startup or a business. So I'm not sure. Unless I was in another outside, I cannot compare.
So I think for me, so I did a summer program in the US. It was for around 2 months, and I lived on campus. So that experience was completely different from my university experience here. And even though I loved those 2 months, I genuinely loved them. The types of people you meet, you're on campus, the whole student life, the activities is so much fun. Initially, I used to think what you just said, that I feel like maybe I'm missing out, especially in the beginning of my university, because COVID times as well. And I initially was supposed to go abroad, but because of COVID, I didn't. So I had that sense of like doubt and regret and resentment that, oh my God, I didn't get to go abroad. I'm missing out. Like, what is this university experience? It's not really like a student life kind of experience. But then eventually I started my podcast in the second year of my end of second year of my university. And I guess that completely changed my perspective, because then now what I think is that if I had, studied abroad, or if I had studied in a different university, I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing right now, which I really love doing. So for now, after I've been through that, I feel like whatever happened for the best. But I do agree that the university experience is so different.
What was different though? Could you?
Wait, before you go into that, someone has also a question from the
Yes.
audience.
Well, whatever. Um, I am from Mexico. I told you that before. I finished my degree in Mexico and I came here to study a diploma. And the experience here in Dubai, as a student, it's completely different.
What was different?
Connections.
So like how?
Connections are feel genuine, but you know you need them and they know they need you. But it's not like that. You feel like different. It's like more comforting, if I can say that word. Because in Mexico, you just go to school, you study, you make friends, but friends are for going to party, going to here, going to, just like leisure and
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
But here, like connections are important. Like if you meet somebody, maybe that person will give you something in the future, or you can offer them something in the future. So I see that difference. Like going to school here is like networking, like a big networking, more than studying. Obviously, you put the effort in it, but like in Mexico, you don't have that, and I'm amazed by that. It's pretty
that's a great
interesting for
perspective,
me
yeah.
though.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else in the audience has something.
I think we're mixing up, like in the conversation, having friends and then connections, because both have their own benefits, but they're both not the same thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what is being mixed in the conversation, where we're talking about friends that give you things in return and you give them. That's not a
Sense of
friendship.
community.
That's not a friendship when you expect an opportunity from them or they expect an opportunity from you. So I think that's what's being mixed in the conversation, which is
No, I don't think she's mixing. I think she's just saying that the types of people that you meet are different here versus there. There, it's more friends vibes, and here it's connection vibes.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. But I think she's talking more of
Mm.
friends you're comfortable with, right? You don't need anything from them. You just want to be in their space, enjoy, laugh. And do you struggle with that? Do you struggle with that? Finding these type of friends? Okay.
that's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying it's skewing the idea of what a friendship is. A friendship is that someone's there when
Yeah,
you need,
yeah,
someone's there when you want to do things, someone's
Yeah.
there
yeah. Okay.
but when we align it with business, when we
Yeah, yeah.
align it with opportunity,
I get you.
the title of friend kind of goes away.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not a
Yeah.
friend anymore.
That's
is it?
that's why I'm saying that's why I genuinely believe that it's been much harder for me to find like long lasting
Yeah.
friendships, especially in college, in university here. The friends that I made when I did the summer program, and that was just for 2 months, I still talk to them like every other day. Those are genuine people that we just really loved each other's companies. Whereas here, I felt like most of the people here they're nice, they're extremely nice. It's not to say that they're not, but they're not people that they just want your company. You know what I mean?
But that's a topic to bring up. Do you think Dubai influences that, where maybe your 2 month course in America, the people you met there, they're not gaining anything from you. They're gaining your friendship. They're gaining you.
Yeah.
Do you think Dubai misses that? That you're
I think
not seen as something that they
it
gain?
depends where you go,
I
honestly.
think
Like
it's big
I,
cities.
for example, I met my friends who are I don't expect anything from them, and I enjoy my time with them in a skate park, right? Like now we skate after midnight and we just enjoy our time. I don't expect anything from them. So I really think what Dubai does is gives you these type of, you know, not events, but like places where like you can meet people that you could actually find a genuine relationship with.
I don't think she's
So
also saying that that's not possible. I feel like her idea is that like because
it
of the
harder?
Dubai culture, you know, even when you're going to
yeah,
a skate park,
I
or when
met
you're
them in
going to
Dubai. I met them in Dubai.
yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, obviously, I
So-
agree with
No,
you that
she's not
yeah,
saying that it's not possible in Dubai.
Yeah.
She's
It's not that it's
just
not-
saying that
it's a lot harder because the thing is that like even when you're going to like a thrift store, you know what I mean, and you're talking to somebody and laughing. The thing is that because everyone in Dubai is hustling for this business, it goes
So
back
in the
to
back in your mind, you're
it
like,
just goes back. It's like in the back of your
Yeah.
mind. At one point, you kind of feel like somebody's talking to
He's
you
gonna
for a
help
good
me in the
idea.
future or
Like,
something?
haven't you been talking to someone and like, oh my goodness, I love this thing. It's like, oh yeah, so my business, I sell shoes. Like, you know what I mean?
no, yeah, 100%.
Like, oh, you love shoes?
That's quite
Here it is. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like sometimes, especially I feel like because of Dubai, it's so full of opportunity.
Yeah, I get you.
Everyone's kind of like running for that opportunity rather than.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
true. I don't think like we can deny that because that's true. I think that's quite common in big cities. Like when I went to New York, it was very common there as well. I went to a lot of networking events, and most of the people that I met there, they had that when we were talking, they would try to kind of pitch themselves in a way. I would pitch myself in a way where we could try to collaborate in a way. So I think in big cities, though that culture, that environment is very much present, and it is present in Dubai. Um, I do believe that the people that you are friends with, from your school, high school, at least from my experience, from my childhood, I'm still friends with them here in the UAE. So I've had that, I guess, advantage that because I had those people, so now I'm still friends with them. Those are my close knit. That's my close knit community. In now at this stage, at this age in university, you can still get that, but I do think it takes time. It's a lot more effort. And also any friendship require. What I've realized is that
Wait, sorry, you had some.
No,
sorry.
Do you want to continue?
No, I was just saying that what I've realized is that it's also not just other people, it's also me, because I am so focused on what I want to do that I don't put in enough effort and energy to build that friendship with other people.
Yeah.
So what people should just remember is that it's a two-way thing. You also need to be putting in consistent effort to build that
I
friendship.
feel like because of the hustle culture, if we're going back to that, you don't have time either sometimes, to keep up with the friendships that you're wanting to make.
Yeah.
In that case, what I was gonna say was it's very important to detach yourself from the idea of like an instant friendship. I said that before as well, but it's more that, sometimes you have, for example, you met your friends in a skate park, right? Now you skate with them, let's say every night, and that's your friendship. And that's enough. I go out with my friends for a specific hobby, and we maintain that hobby. We don't meet outside that, and that's okay. It doesn't have to get very serious. You have friends back home. You have friends, like I have friends back from high school. That's like those big friendships where you can do everything together. But to expect that, with you being busy, and the more you grow, the more harder it gets, because first you have to focus on school, then you have to focus on uni, then jobs. So I feel like just finding people and finding something that you have in common and focusing on that is enough. Even if it feels surface level, it's okay. That's still a friendship.
And then kind of just to wrap up the podcast, before Iftar, just to have a final answer to the pressing question. With all the positives and all the negatives, with the culture and the environment, do you think that the university experience in Dubai is worth it?
Yes. That's it.
As you said.
Amazing.
Absolutely,
Yay.
yes.
I don't think
At least our university.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
the experience actually worth it if for Dubai is worth it. I think the opportunities you get outside of university makes it worth it.
So you feel like the university isn't worth it, but Dubai is worth it?
Yeah.
So then does that
exactly.
mean that the university isn't worth it?
Yeah, I don't think the university is worth it.
Whoa.
I think the
I,
university
I,
is worth
You're
it.
gonna get us expelled.
I don't think the university experience in Dubai has given me as much as what Dubai itself has given me. So I would say the experience outside of university here has been like 10 times bigger and better. Even the friends that I've made has been outside of uni than within Dubai. Depends on uni, of course.
Yeah.
I think it depends on you as well.
There are exceptions.
Oh.
There are.
Because you meet different people, right? So it's not about uni sometimes. I think in your case you met someone and it's our podcast. So I don't think
Yeah.
everyone is like that, right?
I guess it's also
So it
like
depends
also the
on you.
experience of being a young adult in Dubai in general. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've heard people say that they sometimes feel like they're thrown into adulthood without actually ever getting to transition through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true, actually.
Anyways, I think that's the end of this podcast. Thank you guys.
Thank you
so much.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much for having us.